Hi, um, my name is Lackluster TK, and today I want to talk about something that I love, but it's also something that is bothering me. I want to talk about Denis Villeneuve and Dune and his adaptation. So, in 2021, Warner Brothers released the 2021 Dune movie with Denis Villeneuve directing and writing it. It was his long time dream to do so. Oh, and I was excited for that. For a guy that has been in a long time wanting to do this film, I knew that he was a great fit, especially after seeing him do the sequel to Blade Runner, which was really awesome, by the way. Freaking love this movie. I really love that movie. It's awesome. But the problem with the Dune movie, maybe, is that I think I think the problem that came with the fact that he wanted to adapt it was because it was already an established material, because it's a novel, which, by the way, I love that book. It's awesome. I have read it before I watched the movie. When the first trailer came out, I don't remember when that was. Then I started to read the book just to see what it's all about. I've never watched the old Dune. I never watched the old Dune. Never was a big fan of the sci-fi movies that were made at that time, because I knew that they wouldn't get at they weren't enough uh, uh, budgets, and there weren't enough computer material to handle those kind of sci-fi material, other than Star Wars. And I heard that Star Wars was inspired by the Dune movie, the Dune book. So I thought, okay, awesome. Let's give this a try. I read the novel. I fell in love with it. My God, I mean, the way it's written, how it's about the internal battles of the characters, as more so than it has anything to do with action. So I thought, if anybody can adapt the scope of this book, this detailed book, it should be Denis Villeneuve. After seeing him do Blade Runner 2049, after seeing him do Arrival, well, which that movie is very seductive. It's very seductive in the way that you watch it. It's the way it's written, the mystery, and how it ends, that is collide together and make this a movie. Is a movie that rewards a rewatch. So you enjoy that film. Denis just kicked out of the park. He truly is a sci-fi prodigy. However, with Dune, I felt like he was held back. I felt like he was held back in the way that because he was adapting the book that he admires it so much, he held himself back on creating something that is entirely his own. If you look at every movie that he has made, it's an original concept that he directed, and therefore he went all in on what he knew, and I think it works for him that way. However, when it comes to Dune, he was held back by the book, in terms of, you know I have to adapt this book, and I have to be true to it, to respect Frank Herbert. So I thought that he didn't really do a good job with it. The writing, it felt like he just closed on the best parts of the movie, but it seems he didn't have time to actually, go in details and have a context, too much context as to how those scenes were portrayed. The way, takes for an example, that scene where Paul is being hunted by a bug, where the guy is hiding in a wall, where Paul gets to deal with that bug, and how he deals with it. It's very different than the book, that in that way that in the book it has a context behind it, but in the book it was just glows over as a moment that he loves, much like it's his favorite thing and to do, but without the context behind it. So I thought it was a letdown. Throughout the whole movie it's like that. At uh, I love the cast of the movie, I love the music, I love the way it looks, but the script was held back. It didn't have much details and world building for us to, be in love with it. Fit, I see us. I'm just talking about how I saw the film, and a lot of people felt that way online. But let me just focus on the way I felt about the movie rather than talk about how people felt about it. And I want to talk about how why it didn't work for me. I'm looking forward to the second Dune, but I feel like he should have just uh, be inspired much like by the story of Dune rather than adapt the book, much like what George Lucas did back in the day. I'm not trying to compare Star Wars with Dune because I know they're very different. Yes, the story, if you will, is kind of similar, but in execution is very different. It's very different. So when it comes to Dune, I did expect the book, Denis to be honest to the book and respect Frank Herbert's vision. However, I feel like he respected him too much that it held him back. Denis Villeneuve works well like Christopher Nolan when they are creating something that they want to create originally, so rather than an adaptation. I, a lot of people loved the movie, but I didn't. I just didn't. It felt like lackluster. It felt boring, and even though the book is not action oriented, it still managed to keep you hooked, based on the fact that the characters are one upping each other and reading each other's minds to be able to. They're almost like they're like human walking detectors to see if every conversation that happens, that this underlying layer of, are you being honest with me, kind of a feeling towards other characters in the book. That's how the book managed to keep you interested. It's the battle of the minds, you know and I love that. But in the book there's no that element. It's just people talking, people talking, thinking, and it frustrates me, you know it frustrates me to feel that way, I didn't like it just because of that alone. And by the way, I did watch the movie again, and I watched the movie again recently. I still feel the same way as I did when I watched it in 2021. One, everything else about it is great. You can see everything that he created with his team. It works. The sound design, the way the movie looks, the actors in it are good, but is the script. The script held him back. I feel like he was too honest to the book, that he just scoped up just little pieces of what works in the book without having context behind as to how we got there to that moment. I don't know how to put it in a way that I can make other people understand how I feel about it. You know, the gist of it is that I have a problem with the way that he adapted the book. I have a problem with that. I have a problem with the fact that the way he adapted the book, it very very creative. It was take for example that moment when Jessica talks about Dr. Yue, about the way that she sees him behaving, that this is not how typically Dr. Yue behaves, and she can detect that something's wrong, and Dr. Yue himself realizes that he's not behaving in a way that he does every day. So it kind of, he also does himself, did she see me, did she does she know about my betrayal? It was something that Jessica sensed, but because of his closeness with him, he wasn't able she wasn't able to detect that this guy is betraying her and her family. So, but she detected that something is very wrong. We should have had those moments in the books, but I understand that it had a limited runtime. The book is very very long. It's at about 700 pages, if I remember correctly. Really, you know and the fact that the movie is just 2 hours, it felt, even at the end, it felt desperate that Denise, you know wanted to get over the world building. He wanted to make sure that everybody was on board, and he wanted it in a desperate way. I mean, that ending when Zendaya's character says, Chani says, to Paul, that this is only the beginning. Like, who ends a movie like that? you, it's almost like you're telling the audience, oh, you guys should really come back to see what I'm about to offer in the next movie. you know uh, look, just look at this movie as some kind of a you know a small way to show you what I can do as a sci-fi filmmaker, other than relying on his way of storytelling, as I talked about it, in an original way of him telling the story. He felt like the desperation in him that people are not gonna like this movie, so I have to convince them that it is good. Trust me, bro. I felt that kind of feeling, and the way he spoke about the movie when it was about to be released, that seeing Dune not in a theater, it feels like what is kind of like riding a speedboat in a bathtub. That didn't sit well with me, because you just make a movie and just release it and hope that people show up. You don't have to emotionally blackmail them. It For me, it screamed desperation to him, that if people don't watch this film, it will restrict my dream from becoming true of adapting the whole book, because he wants to make a trilogy. That's his main goal. So yeah, those are kind of problems. That's the kind of problems I have with the Dune book, with the movie. I really hope that he does it. He has a leeway to do what he wants in the next book, in the next movie, and Dune 2. I'm gonna see it this week. Uh, uh, I really hope that he really gets inspired by what he has done in the past, instead of being uh, tied back by the book and trying to be too much honest to it, that he doesn't focus on the fundamentals of what makes him a great director and a great writer. I mean, if you look at the films that he has made, they're really good. They're really good. Sicario, oh, is one of my favorite films of all time, and he did that on his own. He did it with his team, and he trusted himself to do it. He wasn't tied by any source material that came before. So that's why I think Denis Villeneuve thrive as a filmmaker that way. But with the book, no, no, I have to disagree. I really hope that the second movie is awesome. I really do. I really really do. I love the trailer, and that scene with the sandworm that they released on YouTube about Paul about to mount the sandworm, was really awesome to watch. And Javier Bardem much better in this scene than the entire movie that he was as in Dune 1, when he just come to the room and spit in. It was lackluster. The first movie was lackluster. I'm glad for who it worked for. People loved that film. So and it made money at the box office, which made us lucky to be able to have the second one. So Denis Villeneuve is fine right now. He's doing fine. I really hope that this one connects with me better. The critics love it. The audience are falling in love with it. So I am looking forward to this movie. So I will see you next time.